Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast live stream. This is your boy, the Guru, along with the gang and all of my guests today. Listen, this is the best hour on the internet when it's not football season. Because I tell you, ain't nobody coming through here, but it's all right. We still have everybody. It's all everybody. So there will be no intros played today because my video restream says no video for you today. So we're gonna get right into the topic. Before we get into it, though, I want to introduce or let my guests introduce themselves, and then we'll get into it. Okay. So make sure that if you come through, make sure if you are in here live, please tag hashtag live. If you are watching this on replay, please tag hashtag replay. All right. So again, if you don't know where you're at, you're all lost and everything, it's okay. Still love you. Go ahead on. You're in the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. So we're going to start with Mr. Quinn Stewart, who is my number one slot, which I'm not sure how that happened, but he's still in my number one slot. Mr. Quinn, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Quinn Stewart. I'm from Mississippi. I am co-owner of Press Play Media Network Group. And I'm also a podcaster myself.
Excellent. Well, you know Kevin's part of the gang. Mr. Stephen Atwell, introduce yourself, please, sir.
Hello, Stephen Atwell, coming from Tampa, Florida. Just relaxing. Thanks for the invite by Mr. Brother Kevin Peoples.
That's what makes it work. All right, and my man, 150,000 grand, Mr. Felix, if you please.
Hey, how you doing, great people? I'm Felix Anderson, founder of the Wake Your Successful Self Up Global, founder of the Wake Your Successful Self Up Movement. I teach people everything finances. I teach people everything wealth, and just glad to be on with you, man of excellence. And I'm looking forward to this conversation on today.
I mean, I so appreciate you. I got to tell you guys a quick story. When I'm doing this, and this is season 2, so we've had some guests on. Anytime. See, you know how you have celebrities and then you have celebrities? You know, there's a difference, right? And so anytime I ask Felix to do something, because knowing him the way that I know him, I know he doesn't do anything out of his assignment. So when I text him and say, hey, I'd like for you to be on the podcast or what have you, I knew right away whether he was going to do it or not because of who he is, and I appreciate him for who he is. Now, Stephen and Quinn, I don't know a lot about you. Kev right away introduced you to me and was like, "Hey, I got 2 guys right off the bat. Amen. Let's do it." And so, what I want today is a great conversation. We're going to try to help unstick some people. So, if you're watching this broadcast, please share this to your timeline. You can also share this in your messenger as well, because we are live on YouTube, Periscope for the moment, and on the Knucklehead Chronicles page on Facebook. Kevin, what's the score?
28-17. I know my.
Not the answer.
We win it. We gonna win. Yeah, we win.
Not the answer. Mr. Goodson, what's going on, man? Let me
every time.
Let me get with Dwayne real quick, because I know Dwayne, man, he's had a rough weekend. We want to get into it. Dwayne, what's going on, man? How you doing? You're on mute, sir.
It's never that bad, bro. Even when you have a bad week, it's all about perspective. And I think every bad moment you have and every season that you win leads you to something big if you pay attention enough and move the right way. So,
amen.
I wanted to pull my hair out that I didn't have for a little bit earlier, but God always works it out the way he does.
All right.
Amen.
All right. So this is what I got. This is a surprise prize. Nobody knew what's happening. I got 3 Clubhouse invites that I'm going to give at the end of this show. I got 3 invites, but this is how you're gonna get it. Okay. You have to share the broadcast, and I have to get notification that you shared it. Okay, because I get it right here on my phone. Okay, share the broadcast out, and then you have to tag hashtag live into the comments. And my comments are popped right up here on the side, so I'm gonna know if you tag, okay, or if you put in the hashtag. I got 3 Clubhouse invites. So the first 3 people, this is first come, first serve. First 3 people to do that for me will get a Clubhouse invite after the show. All right. So our topic today, fellas, is how to get unstuck. Fix your face. Now, when I was little, and I started off, when I was little, my mom used to say to me all the time when I got in trouble, she would say, "Oh, you need to go ahead and fix your face." So that's where I got the first part of this topic from. Fix your face. Now, it's important for people to move forward, is that we have to get unstuck, because there's so many people that are so stuck to their past that they can't move forward. So my question to the panel today is, in your opinion, my first question to the panel today is, what's the most productive way to get unstuck? Then we're gonna start with Quinn. Quinn?
Well, the most productive way for me was just taking that first step forward and stop being fearful. I was in a situation because of my health where I was scared to venture out and not be around my family because of my health. So therefore, once I got a lot of stuff rectified, I was still stuck in that same situation, and I had to step out on faith and take a chance. And so far, within the past couple of months, stepping out on faith and taking that chance has been a blessing, and it has worked out for me, because like my mindset is I won't fail. And even if I run into a bump in the road, I know I can overcome that bump, and I don't have to, it's okay to lean on people, but as long as you putting your all and 100% into achieving your goal that you set for yourself in life, then you could achieve that.
Good. Stephen? I'm curious.
Right on his coattails in terms of that notion, in terms of putting that first foot forward and not worry about fear. Me personally, I'm about faith. I'm no preaching prospect. However, I am about faith, and I know the good book says we aren't given a spirit of fear or to worry.
Preach.
To reinstill. So at the end of the day, you got to put it in the hands of the eye in the sky first and foremost. Trust no man, put all your trust in him. That's my take.
Preaching.
What do I say here? Okay, sorry. Kev, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? For me, it's kind of almost the same perspective as these two fellas here. Especially what Quinn said. We grew up in a rough neighborhood. All right. I was taught in order to get out of a rough situation, you take yourself out of the situation itself. Mm-hmm. So when they moved me, my mom moved me to Texas. I hated it, but being that young, I was hard headed. I was knucklehead.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast, hence the name of this podcast. I was a knucklehead. I did not understand what it meant to take myself out of the situation. Matter of fact, Quinn remembers when the two high schools, rival schools, were combining. We were rival schools, and then it was for a turn for the worse, especially, with what I was trying to do. I was trying to get a baseball scholarship. I was trying to do this. I was trying to do that. I was going to do that at this school. So I had to take myself, I had to grow with my environment. So when they moved me, of course, I ended up being a better person for it. Mm-hmm. But, in order to literally get yourself out unstuck, because and don't get me wrong, I love my hometown. I grew up, like me and Quinn, we grew up in the hood. But to get out of the hole, you have to take that leap of faith. If you don't have no leap of faith, if you don't have no hope, no promise for a future, you're going to be stuck forever. And I know a lot of people, and I hope you're watching. I'm looking at you in this camera. I hope you get yourself out. But you got to have that leap of faith. If you don't, you're going to stay there forever.
Amen.
Mr. Anderson.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much again for having me on. Thank you so much for asking this question. I think that the The key factor to getting unstuck physically is that you first have to become unstuck mentally. I live by this mantra of the law of vision. I believe that if you can't see it, you can't have it. I just believe this with all of my heart. I believe that, again, if you can't see it, you can't have it. That's the law of vision. And so mentally, you have to become unstuck mentally before you can see the millions. You actually have to see the millions. I'm a firm believer in having vision boards. I'm a firm believer in having, especially as men, we're visually driven. And so for me, if I see a thing, I can't unsee it. And so for me, in order to get unstuck, I have to see where it is where I'm trying to go before I get there first, because I at least know that it can actually become a reality for me. So for me, the key to being unstuck is to make sure that you're focused mentally and getting yourself there mentally. Put it before your visual so that you can see it before your visual.
What being said, sir, can I try to repeat that law of vision?
So Felix,
the law of vision says that if you can't see it, you can't have it. If you can't see the millions, you can't have the millions. If you can't see the woman, you can't have the woman. If you can't see the job, you can't have the job. And once you see it, you can't unsee a thing. And this is the very thing that really makes us frustrated, because we see ourselves being better. And as the gentleman just alluded to it earlier, you growing up in the hood. I too grew up in the hood. But once I got a glimpse of what better was, you couldn't sell me average. I say this all the time. It's impossible for you to sell me average when I've been exposed to great.
Good. Oh, I meant to tell y'all. Sorry, I meant to tell y'all. You might need a notepad and pen. I'm sorry. I meant to tell y'all that.
I literally just wrote it down. I his mantra. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's that was perfect. That hit me.
Oh, and I promise you, he's just getting started. I promise. All right, so right here, make sure you guys follow the website, Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast.com, please, at Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast.com. You can catch all past episodes and also the merch that we have. Either I got to update it because I got a new logo. All right. Also, the color line will be lit. So if you want to call in and give your questions, or if you have any comments, or you would talk to Felix or any of the fellas, listen, call us in 657-390-2503. You can call us up and talk to us. All right. So Ephraim got some questions. I want him. Oh, you know what? No, Dwayne.
I'm just gonna say, first of all, two things. First of all, you can't have Mr. Anderson go and then say Dwayne. That's number one.
Let's start it off right here.
Let us put that in perspective.
My bad.
Now that you've taken that in, the fact that he talked about what you can't see, you can't have, is so biblical and so one of my favorite scriptures in the word. When we look at God, when he's about to create man, it says, let us make man in our image. That means man looked like God looked. That meant that man had whatever God had because we were part of that DNA. So when he says that, it just reminds me of, that's the scriptures echoing. You are what you see, and whatever it is that you see, that's it. But for me, losing weight gets you unstuck. If you ever trying to get through a hole that you're too big for, you know the way to keep from having that to happen, lose a little bit of weight. So whether that's people that you gotta cut off, whether that's relationships, whether it's the job that you're at, maybe you're not in the right place for yourself. But when you start to cut that dead weight off, you find yourself being able to maneuver in a way that you haven't had to before. So yeah, sometimes we gotta lose a little weight.
Yeah, Ephraim.
For me, man, you got to first peep that you are stuck.
Yeah.
Realizing it, calling it how you see it. You can't get out of something you don't know you in, So it's definitely important to be real with yourself and check your track record and look like, this ain't working.
Right.
And free yourself that way.
Yeah. All right. One more thing before we get into Ephraim's questions. You got a few. I want you guys to, if you don't catch us on Sunday live, you can catch the show on Tuesdays on the Live 365 app. We are on syndicated radio, soundmachine.fm. at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure if you don't catch us live, that's fine. I'd rather for you to be here live. But if you just download the Live 365 app and do a search for soundmachine.fm. We go live Tuesdays on that network at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So Ephraim, you at the floor, sir.
Just real quick, man. My first question is just kind of, I know this is general, but how did I get stuck in the first place? Like, where does the rut start? How did my stuckness form? When you find yourself in general, when you find yourself in that position, how does somebody become stuck?
Well, if I can answer first, what got me stuck was, and those of you guys that know my story, a lot of you don't, some of you do, but when I found out at 17 that my daddy wasn't my daddy, and I was mad at my mother for years, that started the shovel digging for my stuckness, because every woman that I dealt with paid for the sins of my mother. This is what I thought, right? So that was my stuck place. My first marriage finished it off. You know what I'm saying? Because I got married when I was 19, and I had no business getting married at 19. But I got married in 19, and that started it. Well, that kind of finished it off. What happened with my mother at 17 started it. My first marriage kind of finished it off. That's how I got stuck. And then everything else after that was just compounded on top. That's how it started.
Can I follow that?
Anybody else? On that.
I'll follow that. I think to go with Ephraim's question and to go with yours, it becomes a bit of stubbornness. And when you have stubbornness, you start to lose self-hope, and you don't have any it's pretty much where you have no backbone. And you question yourself. There's question after question with no answer at all. Especially if you have no father figure, no someone to guide you, especially at a young age, it starts to marinate and become this overall, well, it is what it is kind of feeling.
Right.
And when you don't have certainty in your life and you got questions, you're only digging a hole for yourself, and you're going to get stuck. Now, what helps you get stuck? The cement. When you pour cement into a hole and with a pole, and you got questions after questions, that's part of the cement. There's the ingredients. Well, when you got uncertainty in your life, there's the cement being poured. Mm-hmm. And then when you got other issues that you don't deal with, correctly, and they continue to go unsolved and nothing finished right, nothing done appropriately, or nothing done correctly, that cement is going to build up and it's going to dry. You got stuck. You're stuck. You're in a statement. You don't. Then to follow up with that, in denial.
Yeah.
We're going to top it off with in denial. So when that semen is dry, that's that in denial part. You don't have anything to help get you out of that hole. And it becomes that, that feeling, well, I don't have a choice but to be here. Yes, you have a choice. You have a choice for everything. But now you're stuck and you're in denial, so you're never gonna get anywhere.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to do something with Mr. Dwayne Goodson. I'm sorry, Mr. Biscuits down there below me. But go ahead.
Mr. Biscuits.
No, it's crazy because I got an analogy / story. And if you've ever been to Panama, there's a lot of monkeys in Panama, and the locals sometimes eat these said monkeys. Now, this is how they hunt the monkeys. They take gourds, and they put a piece of fruit in the gourd. So what happens is the monkey sticks his hand through the hole in the gourd, grabs the fruit.
Yeah.
Now the monkey hand gets stuck because the fist is now too big to come out of the front, the hole that his hand entered. The monkey refuses to let go of the fruit. And because of the monkey refuses to let go of the fruit, the monkey then gets hit over the head and becomes dinner. Now, the monkey has a choice. He can let go of the fruit and he can run free, or he can hold on to the fruit and then he becomes prey. So I liken it to one, misguided desires, because everything that we end up being stuck in is something that we chose at some point or another. So there's a part of us that wants something, and maybe we don't have the proper guidance to get it. And the second thing is real simple. We get stuck because we went after something that we wanted and didn't think about the repercussions.
It's called opportunity cost for a reason, but you brought up a good point that we don't. You touched on a good point in terms of us not actually being educated in terms of making that right decision, I guess, per se, and the consequences of your actions, as you were stating before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my story, I'm gonna try to condense it as much as I can. I pretty much had my life mapped out. I was gonna do this. So I went to college, made it up until my senior year. Had no idea I had an autoimmune disease. Got to my senior year, finished the first semester. So this is during Christmas break. My body completely shuts down on me. Had no idea I had lupus. So
you're in prayer, brother, by the way.
Sir?
You're in prayer, by the way. With that
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure. I had during that time I was working for IBM and doing an internship. I was engaged and taking care of a woman and her child. So I had all that on my plate. Senior year, engaged, taking care of a woman and her child. So body shuts down. I'm in the hospital for about 3 months. Doctor walks in, tell me I'm not going to work for a while. My kidneys have shut down. I have to go on dialysis.
Man.
Woman ups and leaves because the money wasn't coming in anymore. So I ended up going into a deep depression. And one thing that I knew back then, and that I hope that we as Black people are getting out of, is mental health issues have a negative stigma in our community. So
yes, they do.
I ended up on dialysis, and my social worker saying, like, when I first got on dialysis, I wasn't doing right. I really didn't care about life. I had an engineering job that I was supposed to have, pending my graduation, whereas I was going to be working at the Stennis Space Center in Picayune, Mississippi. And once I didn't have that, and I was told I wasn't going to be able to work, so I'm on dialysis. I moved back to my hometown, and I'm just sitting up there looking crazy in the face. No income. I'm getting Social Security, disability, but there's just one check coming in. But that taught me some financial responsibility, living within my means.
Yeah.
So from there, I just get in this funk, and my social worker saying that I'm not doing right by my health or going to my treatments and stuff suggests that I see a psychologist. I see a psychologist for 3 years and never tell my family, never tell my friends, nothing, because I didn't want nobody to use that to make fun of me.
Right.
But that was the best thing I could have ever done. So after those 3 years, I started getting into a better space. Time goes on. I get my transplant on April 1st of last year. April 1st of 2020 is when I got my kidney transplant.
Good
job.
So when I came out of that, boom, my mind is different now, because I now don't have dialysis holding me back. It's time to progress. So during that time up until now, I raised my credit score because I made this plan and said, this is what I'm going to do. I raised my credit score from below a 550 up to above a 700.
Look at you.
I moved out of my hometown I moved to the city that I'm in now on January 4th. During that time, I procured a job that's paying me $15 an hour in the field that I want to be in without my degree. And I'm going to keep pushing forward.
Very good, bro.
So it's all about taking the steps and moving forward with yourself and having that vision that I'm going to do better, that I'm going to improve my life, that I'm going to ascend to another level. And I'm not going to be stuck in this hole where I'm in this hole. You got people steady pulling you down, telling you can't do it. You got all these crabs grabbing you by the ankle.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you have to grow out of that, stop listening, turn off all the noise. And that noise can come from family, friends, associates, everybody around you. Turn off all that noise and direct your focus on what you want to do in your life. And what you see for yourself.
Not to throw you off on your show, T, but hey, Q, let me ask you this. Have you reconciled, and you ain't got to answer this, is your personal business. Have you reconciled with your fiance leaving you?
Yeah, because I haven't talked to that woman since 2008.
I don't blame you. Sorry.
And I wish her nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna tell you something about that relationship. That relationship grew me up, and that relationship taught me a whole lot about being a provider for whoever my next wife will be. So
Amen.
That was some hard lessons I learned from that relationship. But it taught me that I also have to learn it's not all about work and being a provider. More comes with just being a provider. You also have to provide time, and you also have to provide, you have to provide that protection also, because the way I was going to school and working, I was never at home. So you also have to find that balance. You have to have that equilibrium in order to make it all congeal and work as one. But it also takes a partnership.
God bless. God bless. As they say, that's a perfect example of what don't kill you do make you tougher.
Yes, sir.
And me knowing Quinn for years, and when I found out, when he did have lupus, it's just something about not only knowing him, knowing what he's going to go through and things as far as future and what his mental health was, because I ended up injured in playing ball, and I ended up back home. So me and him, we met up. I went home to Mississippi, and I figured going back into my roots, it'll humble me, it'll get me back on track and so forth. So we ended up linking up and hanging out, and it was I think it literally got me and him into a mental state. All right, we grew up here. We know what we need to do. We need to fix ourselves and make ourselves better. I ended up leaving before he left Mississippi, and I'm thankful for it because I ended up in the oil field. I got my money right. I got my credit right. We're about to get a house now. I'm in a state of where I should have been. I'm in a state of positivity now.
Right.
It's a building character that, I have a few friends back home that don't have that building character. They don't have a character that they can build from. Okay. It's just that negative. All right, I sold drugs. All I know is drugs. All I'm gonna do is sell drugs, and I'm gonna just stay in trouble. No, there's better things in life. I ended up, I now have a church home that I can rely on. I got a pastor that, man, I can't say I can't say enough about the guy. He's great. My pastor's great. And I just knew, to go along with what Quinn's story, I knew he was gonna make it. I just had, it's just the group of fellas that used to hang out in, Quinn, CJ,
Mike,
I made it out of Mississippi, doing a great job, got a family, great everything, great guy. He had a strong background, and We just knew it was something that needed to be done. We needed to make this work. This is not us. This is something that we come from the mud, Mississippi. So getting out of there was the best opportunity for us. Getting out of that hole. And now look at us. I'm happy he's got health. He's getting his health right. He's getting everything, where he lives now. I'm very proud of my boy Quinn for one.
I appreciate that, bro.
And I'm very happy about my situation. I'm about to get married, Quinn. All of y'all. I expect all of y'all at my wedding, July 24th. By the way,
it depends on COVID, bro. Depends on COVID.
Yeah, I understand, but I expect y'all. We're gonna wear masks and everything, though. But yeah, I expect y'all there. And then I'm just very positive about where my outcome is. Where I was stuck. I was that knucklehead that was stuck. But
with that being, I'm sorry.
All right, real quick.
Wait.
Dwayne, you had a question. You just text me. You had a question.
No, I know one thing. Like we got a diamond in the building, in a sense that he's very unique, and everything that people have been the questions. I mean the responses, like Quinn and Kev. I wanted to ask Dr. Felix. And I know I'm calling him doctor because that's the kind of authority the man carry. I don't care if he ain't. Yeah,
I agree.
That's it. But Mr. Anderson, how do you feel that the economic ideology, or what we know as a black community, the typical black community in America, the way we grow up, how do you think we break the thoughts and the cycles that we've grown accustomed to, that shaped our lives for so much, and being able to change it into a situation where money is available, so some of the issues that we end up having are no longer issues because we see things differently?
I hope you can hear me clear.
Yes.
I hope you can hear me clear.
Yeah.
I grew up in poverty. I grew up in nothing but poverty. I didn't grow up with my dad. I never lived with my mom. Never lived with my dad. I was bouncing from house to house. I was living with cousins, sleeping on couches. Had dogs that were sleeping with me. So I grew up in poverty. So I know what poverty looks like. I think the concept and the mindset that we have to have, the first thing that we have to do is change our language. I always tell people, I ain't forgot where I came from. I just don't want to go back. And so for me, it's not a matter of degrading or disowning who I was or where I came from. I've just been introduced to better. And so for me, and my mindset is, in terms of just shifting the whole economic landscape of what we're doing, we have to first start with our language. Then we have to start with making sure that we're not just financially literate, but we have to make sure that we shift the language in a way where it is really becoming such a part of everybody around us. Like I say this all the time, it's impossible for you to be connected to me and be broke. I just believe that iron sharpens iron, but you can't be sharp hanging around butter knife people. So it's going to be it's going to be impossible for you to be connected to me broke. I believe that the reason why God made our taste so expensive is because we were never designed to be broke. I had somebody a couple of days ago sent me $1,000 piece of silver, right? And so once you've been exposed to it, again, I say it's hard for you to sell me average when I've been exposed to great. And I always tell people, if you want the house, if you want the car, if you want whatever it is that you need, go sit in it, go touch it, go feel it. Because sometimes we haven't been introduced to certain things. It's not that we don't know that it's available. We just never been introduced to better. And so I wrote a whole letter to better. And for me, it was getting around mentors and people who didn't mind not just telling me stuff, but people who were willing to show me steps. And I think that that's where we miss it, especially among men of color and brothers and things of that nature. We all know successful people. And most of the time, these successful people would tell us, listen, you need to invest in the real estate. You need to invest into the stock market. You need to do all of these different things. My question is, okay, are you willing to show me the steps? Then we have to debunk the myth of well, if people value you, then they'll invest into you. I had to debunk that myth a long time ago, primarily because I have people who I mentor who are at ground level who don't have the resources to invest what I would typically charge a corporate client. And so it's not that they don't value who I am, they just don't have the resources right now. They value who I am, they just don't have the resources to make that investment. So my assignment as a mentor, my assignment is to invest into them and bank on them adhering to the honor code. There are a couple of things that people say that I just don't subscribe to. Like, for example, people talk about streams of income. If you want to look at it from a biblical perspective, I think my brother alluded to it earlier. If we want to look at it according to a biblical perspective, I'm always looking at the law of first mention. And so if you're telling me streams of income, to me, that's low level thinking, because the first thing that man was introduced to was 4 rivers. And so for me, I understand currency. I understand how money flows. And I say this all the time. I don't chase money. Money chase me. But I do leave it a memo to tell it where I'm going to be. So it's all in the mindset, if that makes sense, right?
So
And
are you saying you're against streams of income, sir?
What I'm saying is there's a level above streams of income. What I'm saying is streams get blocked, rivers don't get blocked. So I don't say streams of income, I say rivers of income. Because for me personally, I can give you a stream. A stream is a droplet. But with a river has a current, which is where we get the term money, which is currency. Rivers never get blocked. Streams get blocked. What I'm saying is I'm not against streams. I'm saying that there's a level above the one. There's always a level above the one that we're operating on. And I want a constant flow in my life. I always want a constant flow in my life. So the first thing I had to do was change my language. Before I changed my language, I couldn't change my money. And when my language changed, my money changed. For example, the banks would tell us to save money, right? The banks don't even do what they tell us to do. The banks don't save money. They circulate money. So what I did was I had to change my language. I said, okay, in order for something to have life, it has to circulate. For example, our body. If we want to live, blood has to circulate in our bodies. Air has to circulate in our body. Water has to circulate in our body. So for me to say I'm saving money is me taking my money and go and burying it because my money is not circulating. Anything that does not circulate dies. A stream can get blocked, but a river never gets blocked.
Come on, sir.
Dr.
No
Felix.
stagnancy.
Dr. Felix, I got 2 questions. I got 2 questions for you on that, Dr. Felix. So let me ask you this. What do you feel about the clocking in, the 9 to 5? Do you feel that's a form of being stuck? And also, I heard you say we should go sit in it, go feel it, go touch it. What's the difference with the dream chasers and dreaming big?
Me, I have this conference every year we call Believe Big Again, right? And so I know what it's like to walk 4 miles to work. I know what it's like to work at a gas station, substitute teach, wait tables, and work at Hollywood Video all at the same time. For me, I'm not opposed to the 9 to 5 because I don't look at the 9 to 5 as a 9 to 5. I look at the 9 to 5 as an investment, right? Okay. That's investment money, right? That's me building my craft on somebody else's dime and on somebody else's time. So what I do is with the 9 to 5 is I'm honing a skill set that perhaps I did not have, but I'm doing it with somebody else's resources. And all while I'm building my dream, I've been there. I was working as a vice president of a food bank in Memphis, Tennessee. And I remember being around, one of my mentors was a vice president of the Memphis Grizzlies. And he gave me a book and it shifted my entire paradigm. And everybody thought I was crazy. I left that job to come back home to go wait tables. And everybody thought I was crazy, but I understood that in order for me to do what it is that I needed to do, I had to build it on ground level. But I took the resources on this level to make that investment when I went back down to ground level. And that's I hope that answered your question.
In the dreaming big versus dream chasers?
Chasers, for me, I don't chase dreams. You know, for me, I'm just I'm just too woke to chase dreams, right? And for me, in terms of the dreaming big, right? I believe big because if I see it, I put my eyes on it, I'm believing that I can have it. Because there are a lot of people that are dreaming and they're still asleep. And there are a lot of us that are dreaming and we're wide awake. So for me, I took myself out of the space of dreaming because dreaming is what I do when I'm not cognitively awake. Believing is what I do when I'm cognitively awake, if that makes sense. So I don't believe in chasing dreams. I believe in writing crystallizing your thoughts. If it ain't in writing, it ain't real. And that's just me. If it ain't in writing, it ain't real. And writing crystallizes your thoughts. So I believe in having vision as men. As strong men, I like being around strong brothers like that are in this room right now. I like being around brothers that would challenge your psyche. I like being around brothers that would ask the pertinent questions that you're asking right now, because it causes us to go deeper. And when we're able to go deeper, this reminds me of the Jewish table. We're putting everything in the middle of the table so that we all can be better as a result of this conversation that we're having on today. And I appreciate you asking that question. But for me, it's the money changed when my mindset changed. I didn't learn about meditation from the church. I learned about meditation from Snoop. I'm a hip hop head. Snoop says, listen, rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on juice. That wasn't the part. That was the fun part. But this was the meditation part. Laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. That's meditation 101. So my point is, if I can't see money, I'll never have money. If you know what I'm saying. And so I had to shift it. I didn't learn about relationships until I got adequated with 8 Ball and MJG. It was a song that he had on a soundtrack called Nothing to Lose. Most of y'all probably hadn't heard of that soundtrack. Martin Lawrence, and I can't remember the guy. But he had a song
Tim
on there
Robbins.
called he had a song on there. Yeah, he had a song on there called Not Tonight, right? He said space ain't hard to find, but eventually you gonna need yours like I'm gonna need mine, right? And so in other words, he says, I learned about all of that stuff growing up. I learned about how to be both a gentleman and learn how to be eloquent with my speech from LL Cool J. I learned about longevity from LL Cool J. I learned about how to reinvent yourself from LL Cool J. I learned about how to reinvent myself from Puff Daddy. He went from Puffy to Puff Daddy to P Diddy to Diddy to Sean Combs to Sean. He
Love.
You gotta love that.
He does it every 4 years. So you have to pay attention to the cycle. So I learned about money by watching Money. Kings study kings.
Let me tell you something. You said that blew my mind when you started talking about the difference between the stream and what you believe, which is rivers, and how rivers contain currencies. It's when you said the thing, it made sense. It's the difference between milk and meat. Because nothing you said was wrong. Nothing a person says is wrong about streams. But then you get that revelation. You get to the meat of the matter. It was like, wait a minute, that's beneath me. I can have more than that. I told my daughter something, and this is why it sparked me. I told my daughter, I was like, baby girl, the sky is not the limits for you. I was like, the sky is a limitation. You have no limits. So when I just heard you say that, it just brought all of that full circle for me.
Confirmation.
Can I share something with you? If someone is able to put footprints on the moon, sky is never the limit.
Exactly. All right. Real quick, I want to read these comments because this is a live stream. And I know there's people that put in their comments. I'm like, I didn't read my comment. So I want to read their comment. Starting with Richard. Because Richard, these comments only go so far that they stop. But Richard said, invest in youth in the rivers of income and reinvest. Let the money go back out, growing and compounding upwards build my economy. Abigail said, rivers do clog up, but only in closed off areas. And when it starts merging with areas just outside of it. I grew up on a river. A river is definitely a powerful analogy. Now, I told you guys that to get you a notepad and pen. Yeah. So again, this is a interactive call-in show as well. So the call-in number is down at the bottom, 657-390-2503. If you want to say what up to Felix and the guys, come through.
Shout out to my mom that's on here.
Hey, mama.
Hey, mama.
Mama Bear from I call her Mama Bear, but shout out. I'm glad she's watching.
Glad you're here. Don't forget, call in 657-390-2503. Also, at the end of the show, those of you who may be interested in Clubhouse, I have an invite that I'm giving away by the end of this show. So, but you have to share the broadcast, and I have to get a notification that you shared the broadcast. So, share the broadcast out. Mr. Ephraim, you have the floor.
So, Dr. Felix, you talk a lot about wrong thinking. I just want to know, how do you start the steps of changing the thinking? Like, if you're in it, how do you know what's wrong?
by the sound. I don't know if most people don't know this or not, but there are 44 sounds in the English vocabulary. You ever had somebody say something to you and it sounded good, but it sounded off?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how you'll know when you've reached that new plateau. I say this every day. This is my prayer every day. God, teach me the language of my new level. That's my prayer every single day.
Good.
God, teach
like
me the
that.
language of my new level.
My new
So
level.
what happens was he would introduce me into rooms. He'll introduce me to dialect. He'll introduce me to people who are smarter than me. And what I have to do, I have to yield to that, because even though the dialect may be there, the diction may be there, the education may not be there. And I never look at where people are and say to myself that I can't learn from them, right? I believe that when you get, this is how you'll know you've got to that place. When you get to a new level, you get into the room and you know absolutely nothing. That's how you know you've reached to that plateau where you have to learn that new level. And I say this all the time, whenever you get to a new level, you become a novice all over again. And we as men, we have ego and we have submission issues, and that's what stops us from getting that paper. Can you sit down at the feet of somebody else who's stronger than you and say, listen, my brother, I want to know what you know and teach me what you know, and I'm going to put some money in your hand, and I'm going to put some money in your hand for teaching me what you know, because if I come to you and you make an investment in me and I don't make an investment into you, I'm out of order.
Out of order.
Amen.
No different than me going to a vending machine, putting money in that vending machine, expecting a Coca-Cola to come out. If a Coke don't come out, I'm gonna call that Coca-Cola machine out of order.
We need
People
that
in our
product.
life ain't no different. I need that.
We need that product.
If you come to me and you don't have an ink pen in your hand,
out of order, baby.
If you don't have an ink pen in your hand, you don't have a pad with you, I'm gonna stop talking, because you wasted my time.
Yep.
And then the first thing I'll ask you is what type of ink pen you writing with, because royalty attracts royalties, man. I just believe that.
Felix, stop right there. Stop right there. I want you to articulate this point right here, because this helped me, fellas. Please listen, real quick. Everybody that's listening right now, stop whatever it is you're doing, and I want you to chime in on what this man get ready to say. But this thing changed my life. Go ahead. Sorry.
Every person watching us, every person listening to me, you can't have $1 billion vision and write with bigs. I believe this with all of my heart. I'm not anti buying ink pens and packs, but I believe that royalty must write with royalty. You can't be royalty and write regular. I just don't believe that you can be royalty and ride regular. I'm not saying that you shouldn't start somewhere, because I started with a $5 bike, right, that somebody sold me after I was waiting tables. So I know that you start there. All I'm saying is there's a level above the one you operating on.
Amen.
That's all I'm saying.
I think they gets two. They gets two of these. Hold on one second. That's one because he's Felix. That's the other one. That's a bad coat.
And Dr. and I'm gonna call you Dr. Felix. I'm gonna call you Dr. Anderson. Dr. Anderson, let me just tell you, being on this show, like there's like a level of, I know that a lot of us, a lot of people watching are getting are benefiting from this, but look, you're like a walking confirmation to the things that are going on in my life.
Love it.
I went in my daughter, one of my daughters. Well, all of my daughters are honor roll students, but one of them, she's extremely gifted. And I said to myself, I was like, I can't have my baby writing with just anything. So I went online and I ordered her these, and I got them engraved with a name on them and everything. I was like, my baby needs a cross pen in her hand. I was like, I don't know. Cross is the best that I know. I know there's some other things out there that might be best, that might be better, but I don't know that yet. And when I do know that, that's what she'll have, and especially when it's affordable. But like you, God told me, he was like, if you want your baby to excel, he was like, treat her like she is the best that ever done it. And I don't think I could get away with having an interview with Michael Jordan and not having certain things checked off the list, having the room in a certain way, having certain types of snacks. So, you just keep on dropping out that water fire and everything.
I mean, to come in on what y'all was saying is like I used to mentor some kids, and the one thing I used to always ask them is what you're doing at this moment working for you? And if it wasn't, I said, I asked them, do you know what the definition of insanity is?
Mm-hmm.
And they would reply, no. I say insanity is constantly doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
By definition.
So I said, if you don't want to feel like you're crazy, change what you're doing. And once you change what you're doing, you'll change your life.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so if you going out and you steady going, getting locked up for every few months for selling weed or something, then evidently selling weed is not working for you.
Right.
Therefore, what you need to do is invest in something. I said, and just because the money not coming fast enough doesn't mean that money, if a lot of, like, nowadays we live in a microwave society. Everything got to be instantaneous. Everybody nobody wants to put the work in.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I tell them my story. Imagine having everything you work for in your life since you were a kid. You had your mindset of that this is what you're going to do, and it was snatched away from you. No fault of your own, but that's what was the plan that was in store for you, that God had in store for you.
Mm-hmm.
You hit rock bottom, and now you've been humbled. What are you going to do? You going to try to go back down that path, or you going to look at the cards you were dealt and try to come up with a better play? So I've owned 2 businesses. I had my own computer repair shop. I lost that. But the knowledge I gained from owning that business is what I'm taking into my new business. That way, everything can be done better. I have that knowledge, but I still have to learn. There's more. The economy, people, and everything around you is constantly changing. So you have to learn to adapt. So the more we learn to adapt, the more we try to get. I'm an avid reader. I will get up. I keep up with technology because that's the field I am. I constantly have to learn over and over again. And some people get stuck in their ways and don't want to learn. They feel like they already know it all. In order to be successful, you continuously have to learn. You have to learn from other people. You have to learn the technology. You have to learn your environment. You constantly have to learn to adapt.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you real quick, Ephraim, before you get into the next point. From your wife, actually. Ms. Tanzer says, how important is your environment to changing your mindset? That's the question. Anybody that want to take it?
Your environment. Oh, go ahead.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
With that being said, what I want to compliment, to answer that question, in my opinion, we get complacent in comfort zone societies or whatever. Like, so therefore, in terms of your environment, you have to be willing to take that leap of faith, I guess. Who might have you? And it does take a lot, and it is easier said than done. But if you get out of a comfort zone way of thinking, I think you have a little bit more confidence going forward that you can do this on your own, but you can't worry about what anybody else thinks of what you may be doing. That's just my take.
That's good, man.
Right.
With me, it's super simple. I think that every single relationship dynamic, whatever you want to call, or whatever you want to list, either you are influenced or you are being influenced. It's that simple. So your environment is going to be only as strong. It's only going to be as culpable as you are. You're either going to be influenced by the environment you're in, or you're going to influence, and the environment can't hold you.
Speaking of that, like when I was growing up, I grew up in the projects. I call him my OG. Technically, that's what he is. I grew up in a gangster disciple neighborhood, so of course, I adhered to that lifestyle in my younger days. But the one thing he used to always tell me, look, don't worry about what we doing up here. I need you to get up there and get in that school. I need you to get up there and bring me those straight A's back to me. And, every time I got straight A's, he gave me $100 an A. Okay, cool. The older I got, and, his passing his passing left me with something though, because he always told me that I was too smart for that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So only thing that did when he passed away when I was 13, only thing that did was make me refocus. That lifestyle isn't for me because I just seen with my own eyes, sitting there watching that man get shot and killed. That me seeing that with my own eyes let me know that's not where I want to be.
That's not the move.
That's not
Right.
the move. Therefore, even though I always was a straight A student, my focus was readjusted by that event. So that means I got to engulf myself to really escape this environment.
I also would like to add for a brief moment as well. You can't take everybody with you.
No, you can't.
In terms of you can't. No, like we try too hard, but like you trying to come back and get everybody has their own path, and everybody cannot go with you. Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
I mean, you can have the biggest heart in the world and still not, it's just not going to function right. It's just when you're changing yourself, you have to change those around you as well at times. And you bringing that person along is probably going to be on your tailcoat, the one dragging you behind. And it's kind of like what going back to what Mr. Felix said. Quinn took his pen with that OG. Quinn took his pen to work. I mean, to him whenever he was around, he took that mental note and he made it out of that lifestyle, which was not meant for him. So he did what Felix said, and it just goes to say, everything that Mr. Felix said, it just works. It sounds great, but it's not gonna be great if you don't put it to action. Right. You have to have some action behind it. Everything in this world can sound great. It can taste great. Right. But if you don't put it into action, you're never gonna get that feeling ever again.
It takes action to see progress. Nothing is ever gonna fall into your lap. You have those people who may hit the lottery, but you have those people who started from the ground and work their way up. I mean, you have some people that like literally started to the bottom. Now they can say I'm here.
Slide that in.
Yeah, but like I see people all the time. I know people personally that had a dream and they made their dream come true but their struggle is what people don't see. Only thing they see when they come back home, oh, they balling, they doing this, but they funny acting now. No, they ain't funny acting now. They changed for the better while you still stuck at your worst.
Yeah. And being one of the three men that, like Felix said, he came from Mississippi. Quinn, you and I came from the same city. Being that, we were able to get, growing around poverty, being in that, not necessarily in the sense of the lifestyle, right? Being that when you can actually crawl yourself out of, and I am one to tell you, it feels great to know I have a humbling experience behind me, but I'm never going to revisit that humbling experience, because the more you revisit, the more you are going to be stuck. Hence the title of this program, what we're doing today, what we're talking about. You got to get unstuck. But those of you that want to dodge being stuck, don't revisit what you've done in the past. You be repetitive, you're going to get repetitive results.
Right. Don't be repetitive, but hold on to the lessons you learned, because those lessons will guide you throughout the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny to me right now, if y'all can see my background, I got Japanese anime and stuff back behind me. As a child, my brother and sister's father was in the military. So I got to travel the world until my mother and him divorced, and I ended up in the project. So I was exposed to a lot of different cultures and stuff. So I grew to adapt and understand different ways of living. But some people where we're from have never left within the Delta.
Right.
So that's all they know. And you run into a lot of people where they're used to just only what they know, and it's uncomfortable for them to experience different things.
I like
culture shock.
It's a culture shock. That's why I chose, like a lot of people when we were in graduating, I'm from Greenville, Mississippi, mostly black people. So I went to school with nothing but black people.
Right.
But so I wasn't going to go to a HBCU. I wanted to go somewhere, and there's nothing against HBCUs at all, but I wanted to go to somewhere where I can interact with different races of people and learn to be that way. When I do get in my career, I'm not shocked by what people think or how people perceive us as black people.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go and get that experience. I interact. One of my good friends I met in college is Asian. He's Japanese, but I wanted that. I wanted that culture experience of dealing with white people on the regular, Indian people, Native Americans, Asian people, because in this world we live in a multicultural world. Also, and what's funny to me, also, I was a nerd. I was always called a nerd. I'm still a nerd, but now that lifestyle is what's popular now.
Mm-hmm.
People being into the anime, people being tech savvy, all of that. That's just what that's what's popular now, and it's not that thug image of what's popular anymore.
No, hey, Doc, I know we drawn to NT, but just asking y'all brothers, y'all all highly successful. Dr. Felix, great having you on. Let me ask you though.
Thank you.
So you made it, y'all here. Who do y'all owe y'all? Who do you give credit for your success? Is it a God favor, grace and mercy type thing, or did you just get intentional?
I would love to
and just all of a sudden pop up successful? Like you here now.
Anybody answers, this is our final question before I'm going to allow answers on this one. I'm gonna give Felix his final word, and then I'm gonna give my thought, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. So, you can repeat that question again. Who do you credit your success to? Is it God favored, or did you just wake up and get intentional?
Oh no. First, for me, the one that I'm gonna give my success to at any point in my life is my brother. My brother raised me. He put me in baseball. Exactly. He knows my brother. My brother Pete raised me. He put me in baseball. He put me in everything. He gave me the vital tools to get unstuck, if you will, because I'm hard-headed. I don't listen right off the bat. I have to go through it first before I learn my lesson. And once I learn my lesson, my brother always gave us a rule in baseball, and I do that to my kids that I coach now. Do whatever I teach you on this within the baseball field, within those foul lines. What I teach you on that field, you take it and you apply it to life. So once I went through that struggle, once I hit rock bottom, I applied every sense of discipline, listening, learning. I put it all into a perspective and dug myself out my hole on my own. I can literally say I did it on my own, but if it wasn't for him planting that seed, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have this strong will, if I can put it, if I can say it like that. I have a strong sense of what I need to do and what I should be doing and things of that nature because of him. And then from there on, I've put positive people in my life and in my corner. Yeah, some negative people were hiding in the grass and came in and stuck around, but I weeded them out. Now that I weeded them out, I've got people set in my life, like Felix said. I have those set of people. Now that I have them, I shouldn't be revisiting being stuck in a hole anywhere. I shouldn't have that. I have a sense, I have a taste of success. And once you have, like he said, if you have that taste, you're never gonna put yourself in a low budget feeling ever again. So that's why I say everything that he said makes sense. Mm-hmm. I have that taste, and I don't ever want to go back to instead of Frito-Lays or I'm not trying to go to no budget bag of chips again, even though they taste good.
You don't go to Walmart. You go to Target. Is that what going on? Listen, I want to let Felix give his final thoughts, and he's got to jump. He's got a meeting, so I want to get him let the diamond of the hour say his final thoughts. Mr. Felix, you want to answer that question, or you want to give your final thought?
Yeah. Listen, thank you so much again for having me. I honor you. I honor every king that's on this platform. I salute you all and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem at all. Listen, I believe that in order to get honor, you have to give it. And I give both honor and respect to everybody that's on here. So thank y'all so much for having me. To answer your question, who do I attribute my success to? I would say God and great people. God, great people, and discipline. The God, because he imparted it into people to help me. The people that help me for opening up doors, because we don't arrive on our own. There's somebody that have to invite us to the table. There's somebody that have to open the door for us. I always ask people, who is your Joseph, right? There are three key Josephs that I always ask people, and no matter where I go, who is your Joseph? Everybody talk about Pharaoh and Joseph. They know him, right? But you need people on your team that's going to assist you administratively. You're going to need somebody who's adequate and know how to handle paperwork. I had people in my life that knew how to handle paperwork and knew more about paperwork than I did. I had to yield to them. And then you have the husband of Mary. He didn't give birth to Jesus, but what he did was he took that which was somebody else and he took it as his own. And so I had people who gave me opportunities, who brought me right next to them. They trusted me with their vision, and they allowed me to grow up on their dime, right? So they allowed me to understand operations and management on their dime. And then Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus' rich disciple, Matthew 27:57. This guy shows up in 4 scriptures and funds a whole vision. That's who I am right now as a philanthropist. I believe that I believe that I'm purposed to be wealthy. I believe that everybody around me is purposed to be wealthy, because if every man on this particular broadcast has a vision, I want to be able to say, okay, give me your vision in plain sight. Let me write a check, because other people did that for me. So that's why I say God and great people. Discipline. What most people call insanity, I call discipline. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, for me, that's discipline. I run 5 miles because discipline is me doing the same thing over and over again because I'm expecting a different result, right? Discipline for me is insanity in a sense of, from an entrepreneurial perspective, you got to be insane to leave 6 figures to go wait tables. You got to be insane to jump out there and really do half the stuff that we as men have to do. So again, I believe this with all of my heart. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I believe that seeds grow in the dark. I believe, again, that iron sharpens iron, but you can't be sharp hanging around butter knife people. I believe that we need both light and darkness in order for us to grow. I just believe that with all of my heart. And I want to challenge everybody. I know the topic was getting unstuck, but I want to challenge everybody to write yourself an apology letter. And this was the thing that shifted me. I wrote it in my first book. I wrote an apology to myself for not being the best version of Felix that I could possibly be. I wrote an apology to myself for being stubborn, for being too lazy, for not stepping out of my dreams, for listening to the voices of other people who really didn't even know who I was. And that's when I had the opportunity to wake my successful self up. And so I say to y'all, as I rock out, I got a meeting at 6 o'clock, but I say this to y'all in closing. Dominate your distractions. Embrace the divine disconnections. The disconnections don't necessarily mean that something or people are bad. You can disconnect from stuff and it can be perfectly fine. You're not disconnecting because it's bad. You're disconnecting because you want better. This is how you get unstuck. You disconnect because you want better. If you look at Abraham from a biblical perspective, every person that he disconnected from was familiar and family. And so I want to challenge you to disconnect from that which is familiar, because familiar stuff will mess with your finances. Anything familiar will mess with your money. And I tell this, and don't mess with my people, don't mess with my paper. And respect my process, because if you don't respect my process, you're gonna mess with my paper. But wake your successful self up, dominate your distractions, believe big again, and get your cake up, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Throw your top 5 in that private chat for me, Dr. Felix.
Can I give my top 5 right now?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and give my top 5. Pac is on the top of my list. I got Rakim. I'm old school. I got Rakim. dig into my pockets, all my money is spent. I keep digging, but still coming
Hey,
up
no,
through that.
I'm Mr. Lee, my resident thinking, how can I get the president? I need money.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Stop smiling, cause still don't nothing move but the money.
That's it. I got Andre 3000 from a creative perspective. I think he's farly underrated. Of course, I got Biggie on there, and I got LL Cool J for longevity because he's still doing it.
Still doing it.
Righteous.
Oh, man.
I cannot disagree with that list. I cannot disagree with that list.
I like that list.
Have a good one,
You
sir.
guys. Yeah.
Have a good one, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
I get him a t-shirt at some point. No, this is my man. 50 grand. Felix Anderson just left the building, man. Thank you guys for
that was a nice little top five.
Yeah.
Nice little say. I like that he paid homage to Rakim in that though.
Yeah.
I think that was my first favorite.
I disagree with number 5, but I respect it though.
Right here at the top, right here at the end of the show, we want to thank everybody that came through. Just said what's up, commented. If you want to, please visit the website, like I said before, Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on all platforms. If you have an Alexa, you can go right to your Alexa and say, Alexa, play the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, and she will play it. Nobody hit the call in line, but it's okay. I'm going to wait. So my final thought of this topic today is this: how to fix your face and how to get unstuck from your past. The number one thing for me that I had to do is to, like Felix said, forgive yourself. Make a choice that you want to move forward. Because if we are reluctant in our choices, our decisions will be slow and they will be without any merit. If you are not, if you haven't forgiven yourself. Yeah, that's what I mean. You text me.
Hey, did you write that, Terry? Because that was poetic, my brother.
That was
poetic.
I felt that.
With the Barry White voice.
Yes.
Right?
It's the mic, bro. It's the mic that gives me that thing. But yeah, we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice to do that. All right. So everybody that came in, thank you. I want to thank Quinn and Stephen for coming through today, because they could have been anywhere else in this world.
It's a pleasure, brothers.
So we thank you for
thank y'all for the invitation.
Man. Sure.
When I hop off here, I'm gonna start prepping for my show tonight.
Yeah,
if y'all can just tune into that show as well. But
I need you to hack something on the internet for me too. But we'll talk online. I need you to crack code for me. I need some plugins.
Hack my taxes right now.
I'm class D. Yeah. I haven't hacked in years because you don't want to be on that list.
Don't dry snitch on the Knucklehead podcast.
They distracted with the Capitol riots right now, man. You can speak right under the radar.
I would like to come back if possible.
Yeah, if it's possible, just give me a holler back and I'll jump in with y'all, man.
I got you. Felix told me to tell y'all. He just texted me. He came across my Mac here, and he said that he enjoyed the energy in the room and being here. So we want to appreciate that, King, for coming through. If you did not get a chance to share it, please go ahead and share it. This is what we're here for, especially those nuggets that Felix dropped. I know some of y'all have pad and pen. Hey, let's make sure we get that to that. And
can't have a $1 billion vision with Bix. Wow, that was Steve.
When I tell you, Steve was in the private chat. Steve was like, I will go see this man. Whatever conference he got, I'm going. Oh God, he said.
Hey, I work in hotels. That ain't nothing but an airplane and a hotel stay.
That's all it is. All right. But since my video won't play because Google Chrome or either Restream is tripping, I still got to put my music because, again, you guys, we are on syndicated radio. I got to have a filler between. I didn't do it in the beginning, but I have it in the end. And if you have not yet downloaded the app, it's Live 365. And just do a search for soundmachine.fm. And do a search for the we go live Tuesdays at 3 o'clock. So I'm still up in my music because I like it like that. Hey,
Come on, groove with me, y'all.
hey,
It feels weird that y'all can see me.
I love it all day.
Hey, Q, I think they want you to say your show name again. I think. What
Say
Ashley
my.
said?
Say that again.
I think they want you to say the name of your show again.
Tonight at tonight at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. It's Nerd Flow Podcast. That's twitch.tv/Nerd Flow Podcast.
Nerd Flow.
All one word. Yeah.
Nerd Flow.
Tell them about your other podcast too, though.
And the other podcast. Oh, and we're on all streaming sites.
Yep.
So the other podcast is the Hip Hop Rejects. That's Rejects with a Z. And we discuss hip hop topics. Right now it's been a little slow for music, so we changed from every week to every other week.
Nerd Flow.
So the Hip Hop Rejects broadcast live on Saturday nights at 9:30, and Nerd Flow broadcast Sunday nights at 9:30.
Everybody that's watching me, if y'all want it, I got the links myself. I'll be on it.
He's got the link. All right, you guys.
Hope you're feeling better, Ashley. I heard you were sick or something.
Yeah, Ashley. Ashley Collins is our resident nerd on the President's Legacy. We love her.
Everything.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, Ashley. I hope you do check it out. Yeah. Soon as if you watch us live and you make a comment, let me know who you are, and I'll definitely shout you out on the show.
Oh, you're gonna
be shouting out because she playing. When Ashley says she gonna be there, yeah, she there.
Oh, she gonna be there.
So what you have to do though, Quinn, is that if you go and if she comes to your podcast, you have to go back and subscribe to her YouTube. It's called The Breakup Diaries.
Oh, she's great. I was on that. I was interviewed. Quinn saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to talk to her, because I got horrible. I got horrible relationships.
Hey, I wanted to leave that alone when you brought it up, but like the way you said it, man, I said, man, I want to dive in that a little bit. Like that might be the next show. The women that didn't stick around. We might get to that.
How to walk away.
How to walk away.
It ain't no problem for me to fall back. It's just like it's three things I hate when dealing with women, and that's wasted money, which I can always recoup my money anytime.
Yeah.
But wasted time and wasted feelings, you can never get that time back, and you can. And when you waste those feelings on somebody, it like every time you waste it, it degrades a little. Your heart gets a little colder.
Hey, Kevin, you better tell him about the biscuit.
We're not gonna do the biscuit because
no, we ain't gonna do it. That's why I said. That's why I told Kevin to tell him.
I'm finna go subscribe to the Breakup Diaries right now.
Yeah, go.
That's it.
Yeah, man. I'll go subscribe to the Breakup Diaries and all that jazz. All right, so we're gonna get out of here. We'll see you guys next week with a heralding topic. Like I said, this is the best hour on Facebook. Not during football season, but it's okay. We're gonna work it out. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a blessed weekend. And don't forget the Brothers of Legacy Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Peace.